Can you give a disclaimer first?
Trigger warning.
Jesus.
Grape is punishable by hanging in Islam, but here, nothing happens to women, only to men. Even the woman is guilty. Solution to this: if any woman, whether married or unmarried, goes along with a man with or without her consent, she should be hanged. Both should be hanged. It shouldn't be allowed even if a woman goes by consent.
God damn.
Leader of the Indian National Lokdal political party. Child marriage is a solution to rape and other atrocities against women.
On Friday, a foreign tourist in India put up a video on Instagram. She was talking about her travels in India and she had bruises on her face. She had been gang raped by 7 men during her trip.
Something has happened to us that we would not wish on anyone. 7 men aid me. They have beaten us and robbed us, although not many things, because what they wanted was to us. Amy. We are in the hospital with police. It happened tonight here in India.
This incident happened in the state of Jharkhand. Her husband, who was with her, was beaten up badly. The story led to a lot of outrage and condemnation. The authorities swung into action. 3 of the accused have been caught. 4 others are on the run. Now, this is not the first such incident in the country. Chances are it won't be the last. Every 18 minutes, a woman is raped in India. This is data from the government of India. And this incident has sparked a fierce debate on social media about women's safety and women tourists.
5 years, 63 countries, 170,000 kilometers. This couple began their world tour half a decade ago. They boarded their bike.
He's 63, she's 29.
But their journey took a horrible turn last week. The woman and her husband were on a biking trip in India. They were traveling from West Bengal to Nepal. On their way, they stopped in Jharkhand. It was around 5 p.m, so they decided to spend the night there. They set up a temporary camp and were preparing to go to bed. That's when 7 men entered their tent. They beat the couple, they robbed them, they raped the woman, and threatened to kill the duo.
So I've heard people kind of like talk about this a little bit, and I guess I want to speak on it for a second, because like I gotta admit, for a while I wasn't listening to any of the like female rappers at all because I didn't understand what the hell they were saying. So it was just like, okay, well, I don't even know. But I think there's some idea that like when, like, let's say you have something going on, as I don't really know, right? Every person has their own shit, but also like every woman has her own, little lane or whatever. And I think there's some idea that like we're all in competition or something. And I think that's a very strange premise. I think some of it stems from, and this is the context of this conversation, it's decentering versus divesting. So some women, some Black women specifically, are going through something called divesting, where they're basically saying, okay, I don't want to deal with Pookie anymore, and there's no quality Black men, so I'm just not going to date Black men anymore. And then now they just say, so I'm going to move to another race of men, as though that's going to solve their issues, right? There's a whole separate concept that is decentering. I am a decenterer. So decenterers are basically saying like my entire universe in existence is non-dependent on men at all. Like there's nothing about the male gaze. It's not really about men. Men are here, like they are alive. I acknowledge that like men exist, but also kind of men exist to our detriment to an extent, like especially for women, especially for Black women, like the number one target, the number one enemy, the number one threat to your survival is a man. That. So kind of putting all your eggs in a basket of like targeting another woman, not only will it not help you, like you're literally delusional in terms of like your own survival. The person who's going to harm you is going to be a man, if anyone, right? Like, so let's start the conversation there. And then we'll also like continue this one with a little bit of culture fit, because this has been getting on my fucking nerves for a couple of weeks now, but it was just like kind of like held it. But, it's like word vomit, right? Let's let the shit out. So here's a story that I heard a couple of weeks ago, and I just think it's like useful to know. So some people always wonder like, okay, Olivia, like, why are you so vile toward the Indian community? What's going on? Like, oh, you're just a racist. Am I, or am I just a realist? So here's a story about a biracial girl with an Indian father and a continental Black African mother. Now, her mother had very, very low self-esteem, but married this Indian man. Now, the Indian man, I guess, goes on to be like a drug dealer or something. He's doing all of these like illegal activities. But also she had 6 siblings, 2 sisters and herself. Her and her little sisters were all raped by their Indian father, like, repeatedly until she turned, like, 18. Not even 18, I think she had to, like, it got so bad for her that she had to go to, like, some civil service foster home or something, and then but she left her sister with the rapist pedophile. And so then her sister then grows up until she's 18 to, like, live with this fucking pedo, and he just keeps going. And so she's, like, showing me all these pictures of, like, her fucking grandparents, all this shit. It's like, have y'all seen India? Like, were we just talking about this? Like, so there's the Korean girl who goes and just tries to blog, and she gets stalked by, like, a bunch of, like, children and men. There's the, like, Latinx couple who goes, the man and the woman both get gang raped by a group of, like, 30 men. And then there's, like, the Indian doctor who's, like, in the hospital in her office trying to take a nap and gets gang raped by 30 men. It's just like, have y'all been here? Have you, like, read the news at all? Even, have you been alive? Hello, knock, knock, are you there? Like, it's just like, wake the fuck up. Like, this is the culture of Silicon Valley. Like, I don't know how many teams I've been on that are just full of Indian men. Like, you're like, oh, the culture is bad. No, bitch, their culture is bad, and they're bringing the shit over here. It's just like, do you think they changed? Oh, they reformed overnight a fucking, like, 7 million year history of a caste system? No. They're, like, birthed into like, literally be pedos. Like, they don't believe in the same, like, Christian God that probably you do. They believe in the God of I can do whatever the fuck I want until I die, and then that's what they do. And first, it's that Latinx woman and her husband, and next it's gonna be you, unless you wake the fuck up and, like, listen. Like, it's like listening to this woman's story, I didn't even blink because I was just like, wow, that sounds right. It sounded very similar to everything I've heard in the past, right? Like, it was just like, yeah, that's how they are, you know? And it's like, God. And people come to me and be like, I'm the one who's wrong. And then they'll be like, culture fit. We want to make a better culture for who? What? For who? You should, like, okay, we're actually, maybe we should just read the article together that's about that Indian doctor story. Was so awful. It was like her mom getting on and being like, she worked so hard. She worked her whole life to be a doctor. Like, she was literally in the hospital, like, when that happened. That's the crazy part. And the mom's like, she's so sad, and everyone knows this. It's like a public story. But it's like the common story. It's not like some one-off instance. It happens to all the women. So, like, there's no one left to have a story of, like, this didn't happen to me. Right? Like, so which woman is gonna come out and be like, "Oh, yeah, okay, I want something better." No, they fucking come here and try to be like, make a little township community. Do we call it, isn't it Fulton, or, like, what's the little town? It's, like, in the Bay Area. It's, like, 2, 3 stops from, like, um, from Berkeley. No, is it not Danville. It's, I can't remember. One of the train stops, though, is, like, exclusively Indian. They have, like, a whole town there. And I just wonder, like, when did you think that the system, the, like, ethnic system that they've been building for, like, it's about a very long time. I don't know how long. I guess we'd have to talk about, like, colonialism from Britain, but even after that, like, after Britain left, the caste system, which has been going on for a very long time, was, like, still there. I don't pay too much attention to Indian history, I gotta be honest, but, like, I'm talking about, like, Indians from India with the green, orange, and white or whatever. Not Native Americans, because people also like to, like, cross. They use that term fluently, and we're not talking about the same people. I'm talking about the Indians from India, the Asian ones. And I just, like, the funny part about this, go talk to a Chinese person or go talk to a Japanese person and just ask them, be like, oh, what do you think of Indian culture? You will hear the shit from them, like, literally. That's why I started talking out Mandarin. Join the chat, bitch. Like, just switch the language and translate, because you will immediately understand what literally everybody has been saying right now. Why do you think the Korean women are like the 4B movements? All of them. All of them. It's really unfortunate. Like, especially, so I talked about this a little bit on my channel just because I thought it was so shocking. There's like that documentary on Netflix that's about, it's kind of about class and colorism, but basically what happened is all of the all the little, they're Indian, but they're just more like they're blacker in terms of their skin. So the darker and they're in this caste that's called like the Untouchables. So it's this story of like 5 little girls who are trying to basically get an education even though they're from the undesirable class, and it's all they talk about all the oppression that they face. Like, their mothers are like unpeeling plastic or some shit like that in their township, and the documentary is like 15 episodes. It was the most touching thing I've ever seen in my life, because obviously, like, as a Black person, I was like, ooh, I feel for these little, like, very dark, like, these kids are darker than me. They're very, very, very dark. They're like Black, but they just are like Indian, right? But the whole system is basically like, fuck you, you'll never grow, because there's no upward mobility for untouchables in the Indian caste system. And that's how it's been for like ever. And the thing is, it's like in place now. That's the part that's like very it's not like it changed. It's in place right now, like today, now. And then and then they're talking about culture fit. They're just literally moving the people from the system that is actually oppressing people right now, and they take a plane and then they fly here. And then they just created something new to try to be like, we're going to bring the same system over here. And then you hear other people who are like, oh, fuck, absolutely not. I wholeheartedly refuse to like live in society with you. That's why they have to have their literal like own like neighborhood and community just for them. That's why. Like, go ask a Chinese person why they don't have no Indian neighbors. You go ask them yourself. I've already had these racist conversations. Like, I don't need to like backtrack. That's the thing that you will learn growing up practicing Japanese Buddhism. You will learn all about like, it's a hierarchy of Asian racism, but it's also political. And some of the reasons ethically why some people choose to not deal with other people, even on the Eastern Hemisphere, makes some fucking sense. Okay. Like, even amongst Ethiopians, there's 92 different like ethnicities and tribes. Go ask one tribe why they don't like the other one. When you hear the full story, some shit just makes some sense. Why you gotta have tribalism and separate some stuff. You feel me?